Welcome to the CEN Show, a platform where we learn from the world community. This evening, I'm your host, Rasaki Maskani. We have Professor Amin Ra, Brother Talib, Brother Hembrick, Brother E, and Brother Mashinda. And our guest is Brother Mooco. And tonight, the topic is Body Snatchers Protecting Your Black Sperm / Justice Day. So I'm not perplexed, but I didn't get a chance to talk to Brother Mooco to find out what the title meant. So I'm gonna let him break everything down, and then we'll get into our usual question and answer session. So, all right, Brother Mooco, welcome back again. Do your thing, Brother Mooco.
Going on, K Unit? How y'all feeling today? I hope everybody's day is, absolutely as best as it can be in a system of white supremacy. Tonight, I'm gonna try to share a couple of news clips, but I'll probably only get one in. This title and the subject tonight is it's very dear to me. So I will share one news clip, and I will be reading probably one or two articles that have they definitely hit close to home on this topic of body snatching and Black men valuing your sperm. So we're gonna get right into it with this first news clip. It's probably about 8 minutes long. Any news clip that we listen to tonight, if we possibly get to listen to the other, well, you know what, we're gonna listen to one other one, and that's about maybe 5 minutes. I just want to warn the K Unit, it might be a little disturbing, but it is very necessary, okay? So we just gonna start with this news clip.
He's excited for it. He oversees more than 100 acres. Often, he'll spend hours just exploring. It's partly fun, but also practical.
I was back there searching for a well that's opposed to beaches.
Can y'all hear that?
I can't.
It's not too clear.
How about now?
I can't hear anything.
We can't hear it. What? Once you is it on the machine or something? Because you can send it to Rashiki and he can hook it up.
Week in an unusual case that dates back more than a century. In 1898,
So I could hear that.
Black man from Charlottesville, Virginia, was slipped.
That's fine right there, Brother
Young
Mooco.
grand jury
You sure?
indicted him for sexual assault.
Yeah.
Station UBTF Sandy Hausman reports on an effort to reevaluate the evidence.
In the shade of an old oak tree, a plaque outside the Albemarle County Courthouse in downtown Charlottesville tells the story of John Henry James, a Black man who had lived in the area for about 5 years, sold ice cream for a living, and was accused of sexually assaulting a white woman.
He was taken into custody and he was removed from Albemarle County to spend the night because of the fear that there would be racial violence directed toward him.
That's Jim Hinchley, a local prosecutor who says that the following day, James was headed back to Charlottesville for a hearing when a mob of about 150 white men stopped the train on which he was riding.
He was taken to a nearby locust tree, lynched, and then his body was shot. And word came to the grand jury that he was killed. Despite that, the grand jury issued the indictment.
This week, to bring some justice to James, he took the case to court, asking to have the indictment thrown out.
Mr. Hinchley, we are here on your motion. The court is prepared for you. You may proceed.
Judge Cheryl Higgins listened as he explained that evidence in the case was thin and contradictory. There was even doubt as to whether a rape had occurred. Yet a grand jury, 125 years ago, decided to indict a dead man. University of Virginia professor Jelaine Schmidt studied the case and gave testimony. She believes grand jury members were trying to protect the mob from charges of murder.
Yeah, I think it was a signal from the grand jury to law enforcement. Hey, don't even bother to investigate this. You know, we've got this taken care of. Let's just move on.
But the Black community in Charlottesville did not move on. They remembered James, and many were in the crowded courtroom this week. They sat quietly as Judge Higgins rendered her decision.
The indictment was never intended to be and did not serve as an instrument of justice. Instead, it was used corruptly to sanction the racial terror lynching of John Henry James. The motion to dismiss is granted.
Outside the courthouse, civil rights activist Freeman Allen rejoiced.
Justice finally has come to John Henry James, and it is a redemption in many ways for Albemarle County and for Charlottesville.
But for Robert Trent Vincent, chairman of African American Studies at the University of Virginia, the decision was bittersweet.
Well, I'm happy for.
Okay, we can't hear it anymore, Brother Mooco.
They served as a warning to law
Can't
enforcement.
hear it anymore.
Dr. Smith says the police chief and sheriff
You can hear it now.
Henry James was lynched. Nearly a century later, in August of 2017, white supremacists marched in Charlottesville, and officers again failed to protect people of color.
Right here, you know, right where we're standing here. This is where white supremacists beat up members of this community and racial justice activists, and the police stood idly by and watched it happen.
For his part, Jim Hingley hopes the case of John Henry James prompts Americans to work harder to end racial injustice. For NPR News, I'm Sandy Houseman in Charlottesville.
Y'all couldn't hear y'all couldn't hear that?
Yeah, we heard that last part.
You heard the last part? What was it, low? It's just real loud on this end. That's what I was asking.
We got the gist of it though.
Okay, well, yeah, that was about brother named John Henry James from Charlottesville. It's about 125 years ago, and he was a Black man. And what happened was he dealt ice cream. He dealt in ice cream. He was an ice cream parlor, well, not an ice cream parlor, but you know, he sold ice cream to ice cream parlors. White lady got assaulted in a park. He was not in the park, nowhere near the park. The race soldiers got him or found him, brought him down to the park, and he didn't get accused by the white woman or anything like that. They matched a shoe print in the mud to our brother. And to add insult to injury, if you didn't hear clearly, it was in Charlottesville. They were afraid that this mob was going to raid the police station or jail, wherever he was at, to kill him. So they took him, or was transporting him to a neighboring county. And while on the train, in the middle of transporting him, the lynch mob got John Henry James and hung him and shot him. After they shot him, they then indicted him with a felony assault charge after they lynched him. The disturbing thing I found about this is you guys just heard a news clip and you heard the gist of it. What played in the beginning was a song called Old Virginia. And that song was played to kind of give the context of the the climate of the time that this happened. Now, the interesting thing that I found out, and white supremacists, they always practicing racism, white supremacy, even with their white media. In the article, they were real descriptive on how they lynched our brother. They said that in the article, and this was Charlottesville, not Brother Mooco. They said that after they lynched and shot him, they then took souvenirs, cut articles of his clothing and body parts, ears, fingers, whatever they can take, penis, testicles, you name it. I thought that this was really I know that this was a deliberate act of racism, white supremacy. This is how the reporting arm of racism, white supremacy, which is called the media, this is how they operate, by either misprinting the news or misreporting the news. Either way, it's misreporting the news. But they leave certain details out when reporting the news on television, which is just short for, it's just what it is, telling a lie with vision. And when they print their newspapers, sometimes they're overly detailed, like in this case. And in the newspaper, they were really detailed, but in the television reporting of this, or the audio reporting of this, they didn't really do a good job, and I felt like that was on purpose. So that was a lynching portion, and I really this other piece is really unique, because this talks to protecting Black sperm, and it's so disturbing because this actual news clip is a news clip of a Black female whose name is Ebony K. Williams. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ebony K. Williams or not, but she had she works for the Griot, and she had a news segment on there about single motherhood by Rashiki? Anyone?
I got it. I'm
Oh,
ready.
okay. I was like, oh man, did I do something? I thought I pressed the screen. All these goddamn touch screen things. But let me see. Can y'all hear that one?
Are availing ourselves to
Yeah.
that our hard work
Okay.
currently afford us. And that means that single motherhood by choice is going to be an option that more and more Black women consider and even exercise. That can go ahead and start the process right now. Because Black women that have the privilege to embark upon this expensive and oftentimes lengthy process will increasingly decide to forego marriages and partnerships that do not serve us and that are not in our best interests. And now that bypassing those insufficient relationships does not have to come at the expense of motherhood, well, frankly, it's a whole new world. A world in which Black women are no longer subject to the desperation of being chose, because now we get to do the choosing. As we choose, we do have to contend with the reality of a dismally small supply of Black sperm. Because most Black women on this journey, we want to create children that look like us, that look like our families, and that means we want Black sperm. And as we heard from Reese Brooks, it's the definition of slim pickings. Sometimes that means compromising on this aspect of your journey. Now, I am extremely fortunate that I was able to secure 2 vials of Black sperm from California Cryobank when I embarked on this part of my journey last fall. But I do know that I am an outlier So I've got 2 concrete tips for single Black women who think this may be an option, either now or maybe later. Number 1, please check out Reproductive Village. It's a new Black-owned cryobank, and it's designed to help with this shortage of Black sperm. It's set to open its doors in D.C. later this year. We'll also have drop-off locations in Atlanta and Houston, Texas. And number 2, be proactive. I say go ahead and start looking right now for desirable Black sperm. Register with all 4 of the big cryobanks, and this includes California Cryobank, which I use, Seattle Sperm Bank, Fairfax. Then you can scan the current options for Black sperm. And if you see some sperm that you like, I suggest go ahead and buy at least 2 vials right now. Even if you do not intend to use them anytime soon, trust me, it's better to have them than to be without them when the time comes. And listen, if you never need them for whatever reason, what a wonderful gift to give to a friend or a sorority sister in need. And also, most of those banks, they allow you to resell the sperm back to the bank itself. Listen, I know that many are going to question or even indict the decision that I and many other Black women are making to become single mothers by choice. But I, like the women you heard from today, go by the creed of no regrets. I have, and many Black women have, too much love, too many resources, and too rich of a community not to share these gifts with children of our own, children that will one day, no doubt, enrich and contribute to the next generation of Black America.
Oh, I don't know about the other members of the K unit, but that was real disturbing to hear a Black woman saying this about Black sperm, whatever that looks like. I immediately felt like the Black man or the Black father's job or position is up for sale. When I heard her speaking the way that she was speaking about securing her 2 vials of Black sperm. She even suggested giving it as a gift to a sorority sister. I don't know anybody that's carrying around some sperm to give to somebody as a gift. I don't think that's the way that conceiving is done. It's very unnatural. And you know, I'm always harping about nature. And I just wanted to bring this to light as far as lynchings and everything goes, as far as protecting the Black male sperm. I hope everybody can see this book. Hold on, screen this. What's going on? I want to act crazy. I never heard of this before. Disappearing in the light. But can y'all see that? Hold on.
Yeah, well, what's the name of the book?
The name of this book is called Without Sanctuary.
And that's the book they got hanging right there.
Yep, that's a Black man that you see hanging right there. I know it ain't clear. I apologize for this tacky phone screen, but I'll give you the title and the author. But yeah, that's a picture of a Black man hanging right here on the tree, and you also have like a bunch of white people in the background in the bottom just looking, you know, children, everything.
Yeah, that's a classic picture that is featured in a lot of books and magazines. And
right.
We had popcorn. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. This book was written by a white man, or I call suspected white supremacist, and his name is James Allen. You know, even in the inside of the book, you know, you can see depictions of these, you know, slaves or black men hanging from being lynched. And a lot of these pictures, it's a picture book. It's about 220 pages, pictures of the lynchings and the stories to match them. You know, this is the beginning of the book, but they have like the stories in the beginning of the book, probably say the first 50 pictures, and then, 50 pages, and then the remaining of the book is just like pictures of just random lynchings, you know, and well, not random lynchings, but the lynchings that go to the stories that they tell in the beginning, so you can match them up. The interesting thing that I found out about this book and the lynching clip that you heard about earlier in the article that I read is, well, the first interesting thing in this book is Congressman John Lewis. He wrote the foreword in this book, which I thought was very, very interesting. After I read it and knowing his actions, it was just interesting. But page number 8, no, actually, I'm sorry. Where is it? Okay. Page number 10 of this book. It explains vocabulary of that day. I was born in 1974. Of course, what I'm about to speak on now is 1961. Yeah, 1961. And no, excuse me, no, I'm sorry. It's actually 1915. But what I'm about to explain is this. In this book, it explained the public burning, which it was known and is known as the cookout, or AKA the Negro barbecue. Okay. In the beginning of this book, they show you probably 10 to 50,000 white people in the crowd, and they have a tree. They're all surrounded by this one tree, and it's a picture of 3 white guys hosing this black body down with water. Well, what this was the way that they promoted a lynching. They promoted a lynching like a football game or like a basketball game. Weeks, sometimes months in advance. And what they would do at these lynchings, AKA public cookings, okay, this is where they would not just lynch us, but cook us, okay, and have what's called a Negro barbecue. Now, this is the hardest part, what I'm about to tell the care unit. They did this as a sport. This was their sport before the 1950s and the creation of what we know now as the NBA, you know, the National Baseball League, Football League, you name it, okay? Sports as a whole. I'm not saying that they weren't playing baseball when this was happening. I'm saying it wasn't a major association. Basketball, it wasn't in existence. Their main sport of that day was lynching non-white Black people, just like it is today. Now, I'm not going to make this too long-winded, but I want to be detailed, and I have to slow walk it like this. Actually, they would have them chained, and I'm looking at this picture a little bit closer while I'm talking to you guys, and I actually see, yeah, it's a chain. It's a link chain. So, yeah, it makes more sense now. They had them chained to the tree. Of course, if they cooking them and they burning them, ropes would break. So after they hosed them down and everything, this, crowd, tens and thousands of white people, you see even some black people in the crowd here, okay? What they would do after they burnt them and cooked them, they would come past and they would take souvenirs. Same type of souvenirs that they printed in the paper about John Henry James, okay? They would take, first and foremost, the penis and the testicles. Their words, they didn't want the white woman nowhere near the black penis and life or death. Their words, not Brother Mooco's, okay? They would take ears, fingers, toes, and whatever they didn't take for souvenirs, they would eat. Yeah, you heard me correctly. They would eat. This is a practice that they have been doing for centuries. It's real disturbing to learn that we are food to these suspected and admitted white supremacists. The name of this book, again, is Without Sanctuary. And it's written by James Allen. And if anyone wants to get the book, you would definitely not find it in Barnes and Nobles, which is where I bought this book. The first time I bought this book, which was about maybe 20 years ago. Maybe about 15. And when I bought this book, I bought it from Barnes and Noble. Okay. Why are you mentioning all this, Brother Mooco? We ain't talking about we ain't talking about the topic. Well, I am. And the reason why is when I bought this book from Barnes and Noble, it was about $60. And I bought it for my daughter. My daughter, who's now 26, but she was 15 at the time. And she had a Black History project that was done, and me, being the diligent parent that I try to be, I thought I was really doing my diligence, and I told her, and I gave her the book. And I said, here, sweetheart, take this book and do your report on the lynchings. I bet no one in class is doing a report on lynchings. She looked at the book, man, she was a little, hesitant. So I explained to her, like a father should, what the book was about. And she was inquiring. She was really inquiring. So she took the book home with her to her mom. Her mom at the time was living with her mother, which is her grandmother. Long story short, her grandmother seen the book and she threw the book away. She didn't consult me. She just threw it away. And she said that wasn't no SHIT for a child to be looking at. So I was real upset about that. So I wound up buying the book again about a month ago. I could not find it at Barnes and Nobles. I could not find it at any major book dealer. They gave me answers that range from they are not authorized to sell it to they don't even have the book on their order list to the book doesn't exist anymore. They stopped printing it, which obviously you see was a lot because I got the book right in my hand. I got this copy of this book from Grassroots bookstore that I've been frequenting since the first day I ever bought a book when I was 15 on my own with my own money, which I feel was way, way late. But that was a place called Everyone's Place. You can order this book from Everyone's Place. Everyone's Place is the only Everyone's Place in Baltimore. So if you pull up your smartphone, your Google search, you put in Everyone's Place, you can call, you can order the book. They would, ship it to you. This book cost me $125. Okay. The white supremacists are definitely investing big money into erasing their arrogance, because that's what I think. That's what I look at this as. This book was written by a suspected white supremacist that's sexually confused, and most of this information he got from his white, I say, white supremacist father, who he didn't really have a good relationship with. So I think that he was really putting this book out as a, vindictive move against his dad, who he had issues with. Which, whatever reason it was, I really don't care. I'm just glad to be privy to this information so that I can upgrade my thought, speech, and action, and no longer participate in any cookouts or barbecues or anything symbolizing any of the evils that these group of people practice on us and still practice today. So with that said, when I found that important piece of information in this book, that made me that just opened up so many cans of worms, because I remember being 17 or 16 for the first time watching the movie Rosewood. Everybody familiar with that movie, Rosewood?
Yeah.
Okay, based on a true story in Florida. Actually had some family members live down there. Well, Rosewood, in that movie, shout out to John Singleton, rest in peace and power. Our ancestor now, John Singleton, he was so diligent in his work. If anyone remember the scene with the Black Mason, Brother Sam, and the white mob, they were running, looking for that Jesse Lee, the imaginary nigga that that white lady came out of her house accusing, when everybody knew it was white man that she was having an affair with, her husband's co-worker. Well, when I was 16 and I was watching this movie, I was so into it. During that time, I think that was the start of my quest on finding out our story and what really happened. Well, the interesting thing in that movie, I was watching that scene, Brother Sam said, all beat up and bruised, he said to that white crowd of white lynchers, he said to them, he said, "You can kill me, but you can't eat me." And I rewind that thing probably it had to be about 20 times. I rewind that part so much so, it was right before I went into the military, well, out of high school even. My mom came out of the room and was like, is it broke? Or you need to change that movie. And I was telling her while I was rewinding it. And my mom at the time found it even suspicious. Now, this is my mother, and she couldn't even tell me. Like, I don't know why he would say that. Well, fast forward to 2023, because remember, I told you I purchased this book 15 years ago. I didn't even catch this in the book 15 years ago when I purchased it. Okay? Reading is more important than watching television, y'all. I'm going to repeat that. Francis Cress Welsing used to say it all the time. Reading is more important than watching television. I read that book this time and I caught it instantly. Okay? I caught the barbecue line. Instantly, it rung off in my head. That's what Brother Sam was talking about in Rosewood 17 years ago, when John Singleton, so extraordinary, brilliant mind, was able to be sound and mind enough, and mind and sound enough, I guess, to put that part in there. and make it so blatant on purpose that we couldn't miss it. How does that tie into today? Protecting Black sperm. When I seen that, and it made me realize, wow, they actually practice eating us. It made me think of Michelle, Ebony K. Williams. I don't know why I want to call this lady Michelle. I do not know why. But Ebony K. Williams. It made me think of Ebony K. Williams and the degenerative stuff she was saying about us, black men, directly and indirectly. Because basically what I got from that 5 minutes of her, or 3 minutes and 33 seconds of her spewing that filth, was exactly that. She absolutely did not value her Black father, if indeed she even has one, or any Black or any relative that looks like her in any kind of way. To see a Black woman in this day and time, when we are in this strategic war that we are in, say the things that she was saying, and even to call it advice for other Black women that may be fondling the idea of being a single mother by choice, shows the value of Black fathers today, Black sons today, Black nephews, the Black family today. So I just found that real disturbing when we got white supremacy that's trying to make us less than in every possible way. The Black family, down to single family households, even down to the very last compounds of selling our dead bodies and our intelligences, which everyone seems to be calling body parts. I don't know why. We don't have parts, we have intelligences. And it just segues me into this last piece of news I'll just tell you about, but you probably already know. All of y'all probably already privy to this.
Brother Mooco.
Yes.
Okay, can we get the panel involved, and then you share that last one, and let me go through the panel, see if they have any comments or questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, brother, speak my piece. That's brother speak my piece.
How you doing?
Okay, and yourself, you have a question or comment for Brother Mooco?
No, I'm just been a fly on the wall. Listen to the conversation, listen to the information being shared. I don't have nothing today.
Okay, that's Brother Greg, right?
Yep, correct.
Okay, Brother Mashinda.
Yeah, No, I don't have any comments. Interesting topic tonight. Welcome back, Brother Mooco. You always come with, some very interesting information. And like I said, I'm gonna just listen to that last part, and take it all in. I had a little technical support earlier, so I missed some of the documentary that you were playing, so I'm gonna have to replay that and just do my research from there. But thank you for sharing.
All right, Brother E.
Yes, okay. I would like to know, okay, once they detach the penis and the testicles from the person they hung, who's in collection of it?
You, Brother E, you said who is in collection of it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the white man, the lynchers. That was their actual first thing that they did after they lynched us. Yeah, they would take that penis and that those testicles, and pickle in a jar, that type of effect. They didn't really record the details of what they did with them, but I can't even get past, cutting a man's genitals off. I mean, just the lynching of a human being, period, but just to think that my ancestors had to live through that's real. It's just some information that I felt like the care unit needed to have, because racism, white supremacy, they specialize in withholding information from us, and once I get privy to it, I just want to share it to individuals that look like me, so that we can be on so that we really know what and who we dealing with, and realizing that we don't want to be equal to this. We're not fighting for equality. We're fighting for justice. And justice, it just means, it's a two-part meaning. It's guaranteeing that nobody is mistreated, nobody, ever. And guaranteeing that whoever needs help, they gets the most constructive help. Like if I need my tires done, the most constructive help in that department means I won't ever need tires ever again. That's justice. You know what I'm saying? The most constructive help. We are trying to get to that place. And when I see, when I read about stuff like this, that's not justice at all, and that's nothing that I want to be equal to. So that's why I just felt like I had to share, Brother E. But yeah, it was the white men that were doing this. I don't have haven't read any information about white women castrating black men and lynchings, but we dealing with white supremacists. I definitely don't put it past them.
All right, Brother Hembrick.
Yeah, evening, family. Being a historian, I'm way up on the lynchings of our people down through the centuries. Billie Holiday sung about it, Strange Fruit. W.E.B. Du Bois wrote about it. I think his book is called 1,000 Lynchings. And as far as that town and what happened to the Jackson brother, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Corbin, Kentucky, where some white woman was carrying her groceries home, and they claimed that some brother assaulted her. And what the black people did was get all the women and children out of town before nightfall. So, before the white boy went into his rage of just what they did to their brother Jackson. So there's a plethora of stories regarding that. That's why I was so happy to read the book that AK wrote, Akili and Mojo, about We Will Shoot Back, because I thought the South was like a, docile, head down, but after reading his book during the civil rights struggle, about all them brothers that was armed and waiting for them crackers to jump out the bushes with the marches that went on and whatnot, and the spirit, that group, the spirit that was, getting black folks to, make sure you didn't support white businesses and whatnot. If they caught you, going in white stores, they would come by your house at night and kind of show you what time it was. And then also about the black farms in the South, where when speakers would come to speak, the blacks of the town would have them stay out on these farms away from the city. And when the white folks try to come and jam the speakers, they would light them up. Even had cut some white folks' head off and stuck them on some poles to let them know that, you ain't coming out here doing jack. I think I think Rosa Parks grew up like that with her grandfather on his farm, with loaded shotguns and waiting on, the white folks to show. They kind of know who they can intimidate and who they can't. A lot of the brothers that came back from the military who had knowledge of weapons, who weren't afraid, like the deacons of defense down there in Louisiana and whatnot. So there are plenty of stories where if they catch us slipping by ourselves, they can do that sort of stuff. When they catch an arm, whenever they run against some armed resistance, that white boy ain't as brave as he, or that white supremacist is not as brave as he claimed to be when it's a mob. And let me just mention this, he was talking about the sports thing. The sports wave where people stand up at the ball games and wave their arms and it goes across the stadium. That stuff started at those type of lynchings in the courtyards where they wouldn't even have no trial. They just snatched the brother out of jail, hang him in the courtyard, and the people would do the wave, back and forth. And as far as the eating us, they want to get melanin in their body so bad, and that's the real jealousy they have against us. And, they've been trying to eat us to get that for a long time, a couple of centuries now. So anyway, appreciate it. I'm gonna let somebody else make some comments, but appreciate you, Mooco, and thanks for your presentation. And I just want to end with this, with something Dr. Clark used to say. The county he grew up in, he used to say, if jackrabbits carried pistols, would nobody be rabbit hunting? All right, peace.
All right, Professor Rod.
Now you got any, Brother Mooco, and appreciate what you said, if I understand correctly. You mentioned Ebony K. Williams. Who was that, and what was her relevance?
Ebony K. Williams is, I don't even want to say she's a reporter, but yeah, she's like a reporter for the Griot. And the Griot is like a news curator platform. They curate what they call Black news. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Byron Allen owns the Griot. If I'm not mistaken. And yeah, she's just doing a real disservice to I think Black people in general, but Black women, because she was claiming, her words, that she was speaking for Black women. So yeah, I think Brother Armour, I think that was her reason for even speaking,
I'm trying to get to know who she is. Where was she from? Why? I mean, you brought her up.
Yeah, she was just.
Was
yeah,
she in Charlottesville? I mean, she just mentioned in the book.
No, she didn't mention the book at all.
No, I said she was just mentioned in the book you're talking about. I'm trying to find who she is, and was she a reporter? Was she, because you spent some time talking about it.
Right. Yeah. No, she's a reporter. She's a reporter, Brother Armin Ra, and it's for a news platform called the Griot. So I just
when was this, back in the day, or
no, this was actually just about a couple of days ago. Let me see, 2 weeks ago, when
she was on the Black Griot show.
Yes, she has the Griot platform, like on YouTube. So you know how YouTube, you got NBC, all of them got platforms where they post their news clips. Well, a Griot is the same way. Griot has a platform on YouTube, and all of their reporters that have segments and on on in their company or their news platform, they do their segments, and she's one of those reporters. That's all. So she's not only history I have on her, like where she comes from and everything like that. I really don't know. All I know is the information that she put out, and I believe that she was in a relationship with some famous white guy. I don't even know who it is, but I believe that she was in a relationship with a white person that recently got in the tabloids or something like that, which even made her of some relevance, I guess. But yeah, the only reason I know her is because she works for the Grill.
Okay.
And I don't know her personally. I just caught the news clip.
Now, when you say black bodies and sperm, what did you mean?
Well, Ebony K was talking about sperm banks and basically being a black single mother by choice. So to do that, you have to obtain some black sperm. And the topic of her brief news clip was just about black women feeling like they wanted to have babies that look like them, black babies, without actually having the black father present, period.
Yeah. Okay. So, as Mashinda was saying, and I think Brother E, how did they preserve it?
You asking some real good questions, Brother Barra, because that went through my mind too. And that's why I even made the statement of, like, who is even carrying around sperm to be giving it to somebody as a gift?
Well,
if I'm not mistaken, it has to be under some type of temperature or something to, to preserve it. Am I correct?
Well, some people freeze them.
Right.
You know, those people that want those industrialization and, who want to save a sperm, and then a lot of companies being sued, they lose the sperm, they forget to label them and stuff like that. But anyway, now, okay. And now the cannibalism.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the purpose of it? You said it would cut off penises, cut off ears. I remember Dr. Cardia talking about pickle the penis and put it in a jar. But at the same time, what was the purpose of castrating black men? Now, they said with a penis envy, and that was a part of demasculating them. But did you in that book do it say why they cut off the penis?
Well, fortunately, Francis Cress Welsing suggestion was logical and worked for me, and it actually made sense even when I read new information that I come across. And the only reason that I could think was because for us we don't have to lift a finger to any white person to eliminate them in their minds. All we have to do is have sex. That Public Enemy song, Fear of a Black that album Fear of a Black Planet.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reason why I think the penises were removed, and whatever they did with them, they did with them. That's what I thought. And to
but you said, let me just make this clear. You said Ebony was telling black women to save the sperm because they wanted a baby, and then you're saying the white people, so they had different motives.
White people and
white people was cutting off the penis and saving the sperm. As Joe was saying, they wanted to, get some of that melanin. But I set up under Richard King. He went to Markham when I was at Markham Junior High and Watt. He went on to be a psychologist and lawyer, and he wrote one of the first manuscripts on melanin. I don't remember running across that information that they wanted to eat black people or their penis or testicles to get some sperm or get some genetic material to make them black. Well,
Yeah.
the other question, Mooco. See, we're in challenging times, bro. Lynching goes back, all the way on the boat. Lynching is not just putting people on the trees. It's a group activity to physically assault and or kill a person. But so my point is that there's a book called 100 Lynchings, and there was a book called We Charge Genocide. And Haki Mahali Bute, his book, The Decision is the Fight. And the destruction and killing of black people is well documented. It doesn't matter how they kill you to the person that's dead by accident or on purpose. The murder is murder. Murder is not racism. Racism is people getting away with it in the jurisprudence system. But murder is murder. When you say, they lynched a black person, well, yeah, they murdered them. And see, we can't let the oppressor be our teacher or give us a narrative. You understand? The whole mutilation of black men, no matter what the reason is, it's mutilation. You understand? Now you want to find out what his intent was. I don't give a damn. What could you tell me if you chopping up somebody and everybody know you did it? I mean, damn. But racism come in when they say, oh, he can go. That's the courts, the appellate courts, and all of that. And so my point is that, we're in a situation where many of our people get their news from white folks, get their education from white folks, and sometimes from black folks who was taught by white folks. And if they're not teaching struggle and love of each other, then they're not educating the people. Because if there's anything we need, it's to love, respect, honor, work toward excellence, not just to get a job, but to get power. Power to check this guy. But anyway, it was a good presentation. I'll let somebody else talk. Go ahead, Roger.
All right, so you want to do that last piece, Brother Mooco?
Yeah, thanks, Brother Rashid, and thanks for everybody's input. And Brother Ra, you absolutely right. When I hear people in my Twitter care unit when I be holding my spaces, and I'm gonna start sending those spaces to you via text, Rashiki, so that you can just hard press them on your phone, and once you get your Twitter page set up, you can just listen to the recordings. But I'm always telling, and usually it's females in my care unit, they always get hung up on white people liking them or not liking them. And I'm like, look, it ain't about like, it's about, look, whether you can harm me or not, you know? And so I just want to agree with you, brother. I feel you, you know, murder is murder, you know? It don't matter how you doing, the fact that you doing it, that's the problem. So I definitely, sometimes I be wishing that you could be in those spaces with me, so so they can hear from, you know, so they can hear from an elder older than me. You know what I'm saying? Just straight give it to them, like, because sometimes when it's coming from your peers, and I know you know this probably when you were younger, and even now, some, you know, when it's coming from your peers, sometimes you get the most pushback from your peers. But when they hear it from a person that has experienced something or age that they haven't experienced yet, they kind of take that a little, you know, a little better with less pushback. But yeah, I agree with what everyone is saying, and I'm just glad that y'all took a moment out of y'all time to listen to me. I mean, I know it's so many other things that needed to be done, so I'm just glad to have, you know, this hour or two, you know, just to have your attention. But the last thing, and I'm gonna bring it home with this, um, it wasn't just one article that made me speak about this or one book. Again, it was everything that I mentioned, and along with this, just excuse me, y'all. Just on June the 29th. Let me make sure I got my dates right, because I don't like giving no wrong information. But it was a crime or crimes that have been committed on institution that we all have heard of or know about, and that's Harvard. The morgue director, and I want to say it was June the 29th, it was this year, it was just a few weeks ago, he got arrested for selling dead bodies from out of the morgue of Harvard. And I was just like, oh man, you know, instantly I thought, oh man, this has to be a white guy. But crazily, it wasn't. It was a black individual. The brother's name was is Cedric. Um, well, I can't even find the article, but I've read it so much that I memorized everything except for this guy's name. But his first name is Cedric. He's a black guy. He was the morgue director at Harvard, and he got caught selling dead bodies. So they arrested him. They arrested his wife as well, because they, of course, said she had something to do with it as well. And they also arrested a couple of white gentlemen that, well, not gentlemen, a couple of white suspected white supremacists. Uh, I just hate saying white boys, but you know, a couple of white men that bought the remains. One guy bought remains off of Facebook. This guy resided in Toronto. This white guy that they caught, who was one of his actual buyers, and there was another gentleman that was caught. This white guy, he oh man, he really looks, well, both of them look degenerate. But this guy's house was raided by the FBI, and they found 40 skulls, hip bones, spinal cords, all linked to Harvard. So they are still vigorously looking for other individuals that he has sold body parts to. He has sold everything from skin, fingernails, brains, you know, spinal cord, skulls, you name it. He sold it. The next thing that was interesting about this is when I was reading about it, I just found it so disturbing, and something just popped up in my search engine, and it was titled "Body Parts industry booming in US where bodies can sell for $11,000. I really found that, disturbing. But I also looked up the body snatching laws. Now I looked up the body snatching laws because I'm here in Baltimore. I'm in the DMV, Maryland, DC, Virginia. What I found really strange is that, and I don't know if anyone knows this, but if you get caught harvesting or trafficking what they call dead body parts or dead bodies, the sentencing was so skewed and so suspicious to me, which really made me had this conversation with Brother Rashiki, and I was like, I definitely have to title this because I have to, y'all have to hear about this. But what was I about to say? The body parts, you can sell a dead body part with a dead body. If you break it up and just sell the intelligences, you can make clear over $100,000. And this is in the US. I just find it really crazy that, wow, how is body part industry? How is it even a body part industry? But, it made me think of how white supremacy always put their actions in movies. They're arrogant. Y'all remember the movie Repo Man? Okay. That had Forrest Whitaker in it. All right, where he was a repo man of body parts. Sound like what's happening to me. Not too far fetched. All the evidence shows. They had another article where a funeral home director, a white woman, and her mother arrested for selling over 520 bodies. I'm according to counter-racist logic, I can only think and trust that most of them bodies were Black. But she got 20 years nonetheless. I was thinking 20 years for 520 bodies? So then that made me really dig into the body snatching laws. And what I found out about the DMV area, which really had me crazily just disturbed, was the sentencing. The minimum you can get for transporting or selling bodies or the parts, a minimum of 1 year. And the maximum is 3. Now, if it's like that in the capital, Washington, is the same law applies here in Maryland. And I can't imagine what it is in y'all area. So that's just something I would implore the care unit to look into. And go outside your area too. Do your surrounding counties. See if you even have a body snatching law, if there's even any penalties. I just found it real strange. 520 bodies, that's like that's war body counts. You know what I'm saying? That's war-like body counts. I mean, that's serious. And the fact that we have so many Black women, men, and children go missing a year, cold cases here in Baltimore. I mean, we have at least a minimum of 5,000 Black women, men, and children go missing, cases unsolved each year. So when I see articles like this, and you got a toe tag, and you're talking about body parts industry is booming in the US, yeah, my spidey senses are tingling all over the place. If it was ever such a thing. But my intuition is telling me that this rabbit hole runs a lot deeper. And at the end of this rabbit hole, we're gonna find a lot of dead relatives. A lot. And that's an understatement.
Brother
Go ahead, Brother Rashiki.
Now, I know that they use people's organs, I think immediately after they die.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing with these body parts, and what are they doing with them? Are you getting any results on that?
What I've seen is they have novelty shops. They have what they call it's another word that they use for these shops, but they have like museums where they show this stuff off. You know, their own private museums, all over the continent of America. You know, and I can only imagine that it's like that across the whole nation. You know, uh, we are the delectable Negro, and for some reason they have an obsession with our melanin. And it's not just me saying this or me believing any other brother or sister saying this. The evidence is showing this, and the evidence is something that I cannot refute. I can refute an opinion, a belief, because that's something that you know. The only thing that qualifies a belief is for you not to know it. But when you know something, man, and the evidence is right in your face, yeah, you know, it's kind of hard to feed into calling a apple a baseball when clearly you know the difference.
Man, it's amazing. So what I do is I'll go through one more time because somebody might have something to say or ask. So we're gonna start.
Okay.
Brother E, any more comments or questions?
No more questions at the time.
Okay.
No more questions.
Okay, thank you. Brother Mashenda, you come up with something? Are you there? Brother Mashenda probably stepped out for a sec. Brother Hembrick, any more?
Yeah, just a little bit. As far as that Sister Ebony with the sperm bank situation, first of all, I don't know that many brothers that's jacking off enough to spill up no damn sperm bank. Probably shouldn't have said that, but that was the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know that many brothers that's jacking off to produce no black sperm.
Hey, Brother Hendrick, I said the same thing. I said, look, you know, when I held the space on it, I said, look, I don't know any brothers that are going to a sperm bank, but if I did, the first thing I would say is, man, don't be selling your sperm. Like, that's crazy. But go ahead, Brother Hendrick. I agree with you.
I don't know, brother. Is this woman gay or something? Or is she? That was the second thing that came to mind. And you know, for the last 40 years, they've been, the white supremacists have let her excel. As far as society goes, job wise, just to down the black man, keep him down. I think we had a sister on the show a while back that just got hip to that, and she's been going around apologizing to all the black men that she can find about what's been done to us. And then on the body snatching stuff, let me just say this. Our bodies are special. We got royal blood. We got royal body parts. And when you can get a body part from off a Rolls Royce compared to a Pinto, and you looking for a body part, now which one you gonna get? I know I had a little minor surgery on my back a couple of years ago. Had a big old cyst, and they cut it and killed it. And when I was going back to get my, for them to change the bandages and all that, and the doctor was shocked. He like, first of all, we never saw a cyst that big. It was after they cut me. It's like you open your mouth wide, and that's how big the incision was, right? But I healed up quickly. He said, we ain't never seen nobody heal as fast as you heal. He said, you're the talk of this hospital. And I know in my mind why. Because of the melanin that I have. And plus I'm type O blood anyway, which that's the real royal stuff. I hear you. So anyway, but there's a book called Germany's Black Holocaust. I can't recall it. It's over here in my library. And about 50 years before the Nazis did the experiment on the Jews, they were doing this experiment with Africans off the west coast of Africa. It's called Germany's Black Holocaust. And on this Shark Island, they were doing all kind of experiment. That same thing they were doing to the so-called Hebrews, call themselves Jews during the Nazi era. And Brother Ra, one of those preachers from Compton, was in the book. Jerome Fisher, he was one of the soldiers when they liberated one of these Nazi prisons, so to speak. And this sister, who was a young girl at the time, matter of fact, the guy who wrote the book mentions them in the book. And when I finish talking, I'm gonna get in my library, Mooco. I'll come back and give you the author. It's called Germany's Black Holocaust. And a lot of this stuff was going on. It's just they just have a hatred for us that's been going on for about 3,000 years. Nothing new. And it's a lot of stuff that they're not teaching us in school about what Black folks were doing even before the transatlantic slave trade, and how we ran various parts of the world. For the last month, I've been studying, the Blacks in Europe from like after the Roman era on up to the, through the Middle Ages, where Black people were kings of Scotland, Ireland, all Black knights sailing with Eric, the Viking and all that stuff. And a lot of the societies and armies that we had in those areas that's never really talked about. And it was really eye-opening to me. Even, with the length of, time I've been studying this, I always run across something new that keeps me fired up about keep digging out that history. But I'm gonna end it with there and let somebody else speak, and I'm gonna see if I can find the title of that book to give it to you before we get off the air. All right, peace.
All right, thanks. Any more, Professor Ra? You on mute?
Ever since we had an encountership of the third kind with the Caucasian, where we actually meet and touch, there have been war. Many of our people invited them into Africa. They received them as guests. The Native American received them as guests here. Their nature is Germany. I see it, Joe. You want to say what it's about? Who's the author?
Yeah, his name is Firpo, Firpo W. Carr. And the dates of the Holocaust of 1890 to 1945.
Yeah. See, the key is to be battlefield tested along with your intelligence. Then you'll be able to see, unless you experience war and warfare with this guy, maybe psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, or physical. It's hard. I mean, a lot of people just, it's like Bible. People read a scripture and pick out some words and start a church and name the church Tabernacle God, this, that. And that's what a lot of people do who have not been battlefield. This is a simple thing. The European many of them see themselves as our natural enemy. And Dr. Frances Cress Wilson talk about that when she talked about why they invented the gun. You know, and she drew it up like a penis and called it the great equalizer. Missiles, even ball games, she would tell you about that. So my point is that I don't care what type of year you find them. Now they got some that romance you and give you stuff, but that's how Egypt turned from black to brown to white. Miscegenation. They come in, and it's all death of black people. Pastor Williams talk about in his book, Destruction of Black Civilization. And when it comes down to them stealing sperm, they scalped the Indian, took his head. Then they said the Indian did the scalping. they were scalping them back, that's all. And the same thing here, CEN and Shaka and all of them. They saw they had to be just as brutal and inhumane as this guy. You understand? And the best way to trust them is not at all work with them. We get our check from them. But we don't go out and have a cocktail with them. And some people do, but if it ain't business, I ain't gonna be around. And I'm not prejudiced. I'm wise. You understand? We learn so many bad habits and notions from this guy when you hang with him. And you take those notions and bad habits home. Just like you have a kid and you let them run the streets, they bring the streets home instead of taking the home out to the streets and teaching the young people to be like them. There's two parts of your life, Mooco. Part you work and part you kick it. If you work hard while you're young, you kick it when you get old. If you play around while you're young, you don't have to work when you get old. And that's why I see so many young, old people getting their skills at 30 and 40. The average age in community college, 33 years old. You understand? But I understand why. There's plenty of ways in which the guy divert you, either through drinking, drugs, or just the illusion that this is the answer to your problem. Brother, they've been killing us with cigarettes. Now they got vapors for the kids, peppermint candy. And the biggest weapon they use is their food. You understand? I mean, they're not going to tell you that eating too much of their food give you cancer. Like they didn't tell our parents that smoking too much give them cancer. It's greed, brother. But it's a good point that you raise, and people need to be, as Brother Hemrick was saying, Billie Holiday's song, Strange Fruit. And even in the movie, she got mad when she saw black people hanging on the side of the road. It's a struggle, man. If you're in a struggle, you're just a sideline cheerleader for those that are struggling. You can criticize black people you don't agree with, but the question is, what did you do? You understand? So that's about it, Rashiki.
Appreciate it, Professor Ra. Professor Ra, do we have anything for next Monday?
I thought
Oh,
I'll
Ronnie
call
will be
you.
on it a week from Monday, not this Monday.
I'll call you.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right.
Brother Mooco, keep up the great work, man. Keep fighting and getting this information out. We got you coming back in about 3 to 4 weeks.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking
Pretty sure
forward
you're
to
gonna have
that.
something else for us that's very pertinent.
Yeah.
Appreciate it,
Absolutely.
Brother Mooco. You
Hey
have
man, I appreciate you.
Brother Ross,
yeah, go ahead.
on the big screen.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. Talk while you're doing it too, so we can see it.
There you go. It's still not coming on the screen though.
Yeah, it's there. We can see it. Go ahead. Talk though.
You are. You know, like sharing the screen like where you are right now.
Yeah,
But
we can see it. As long as you're talking, we can
Yeah,
see
yeah. As long as you hold it up, I can screenshot it.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
All
Thanks,
right.
brother. Thank you, brother. I'm gonna definitely check that one out. Put it up in the library. Yeah, in the next 3 weeks show, definitely, man, it's gonna be a good one. Y'all definitely not gonna want to miss it. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You know, bring them in because we gonna be hitting them heavy come next week because yeah, this rabbit holes go deep. It goes deep and it pertains to a lot of us, even in all generations. You know, uh, so yeah. With that being said, man, I appreciate y'all for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for giving me a chance to speak. Um, I don't like to do that too often, but sometimes, you know, you got to talk more than you listen to get certain information out so you can get more information in. So,
that's why we had
yeah,
it.
man.
So next week, let me share what we got next week with everybody. So we got Brother Hood coming on, and
Okay.
he's been doing some deep diving into artificial intelligence, and he's actually in that world. So this is what we got going on. Understanding how AI models pay attention. And it's, you know, a lot of people are starting to talk about what AI is going to do, you know, what the potentials of AI. He's been doing some studying and diving deep into it. So he's going to enlighten us. So that's next Wednesday. So
Okay, well, definitely
appreciate everybody coming. We're going to take our pause, each one teach one in Conscious Corner.